evening's live stream. I'm just going to check on stuff to make sure that it's coming through okay. And all being well, yep, super, excellent. Right, how's it going? We've still got our Terminators from last week because I haven't finished them yet. In fact, I've spent very little time doing them at all. But the first thing I'm actually going to be doing is I just need to add a little bit of texture paste to this base for Tiffany Aching here. So let's chuck that on. I've had her sat in my collection for a while and I thought it was about time I got around to painting her. So I just realised that the base wasn't that well done. Anywho, let's put that aside. Hope everybody's well. What have you been up to this week? Anything exciting? All being well. We're going to start to see a change in the weather. I mean, we probably won't, but it would be nice. All right, let's pop that back in the thing. Right, here we go. Do you know what? I'm not entirely sure what I need to be doing, and I've put my glasses down somewhere. Oh, bear with me. I need to get my glasses because I'm old. Oh, and I need them for close-up work. Right, here we go. So I'm just having a look at these, and I think what we'll do is we'll start with some Mechanica Standard Grey, which I think is that one. Just basically to do the Crux Terminatus on these guys. And from there I can give it a wash and then highlight it up. Hopefully that'll be enough. Does anybody know what the pre-orders were this week? I'm afraid I have not really caught up with stuff at all. So what I am going to do, I'm just going to come in and paint the base here. So yeah, in preparation for painting. Right, okay. She can be drying for a little while. I've got some other things I need to be doing with her. Today has been absolutely splendid. It rained first thing, but it's been really bright and sunny until almost, what, 5:30, nearly 6 o'clock tonight. It was absolutely gorgeous. But I'm stuck indoors at the moment, faffing around with the 3D printer. And annoyingly, I have a couple of dark spots on the UV LCD screen, which means that I have to order a new LCD screen because I was getting some issues casting, and I kept thinking it was the FEP. But I did a check today on the screen itself. I just illuminated it, and that showed that I have about 3 dark spots on the LCD screen. which are really interfering with some of my prints, to the point that like just whole sections of walls haven't printed on buildings, which hasn't been a major problem because I can come in with some green stuff. I'll give you an example in a second actually of what I mean. So basically, if you've got the build plate, what's happened is I've got, for some reason, I've developed like little spots like that, which when you illuminate the LCD screen, they show up as dark spots. And because they're dark, no UV light is getting through, which means that it's not curing the resin, which has caused some issues. So let me just finish this Crux Terminatus and I'll show you what I mean. But it does mean that I need to buy a new LCD screen, which is about 120 quid. I'm running a Mars, no I'm not, I'm running an Elegoo Saturn III Ultra, and the prints have been fantastic. It's just that recently there's been a few issues, so let's just sort this out. Right, so I'll show you what I mean. I have just up on my shelving a print, and what the dark spots on the resin printer have done. I've already started popping in some green stuff, but what the dark spots have meant is that, say that's a dark spot on the printer, where the building was positioned on the print bed, obviously the dark spot meant that there was no UV light coming through, so no resin cured in this area. Easily fixed on the Mini, but like I say, it does mean that I need to buy a new LCD screen. But they're a consumable. It's just a shame that that consumable is like 120 quid. Bit of a nuisance. Let's just put that for now, out of the way. But yeah, I can get round it by just making sure that when I fill the print bed up, I'm not placing minis over the areas where the dark spots are going to be. I'm trying to take into account where they are so that I don't get any failed prints. But the print bed is running. The printer is running as we speak. Already done one print, which turned out okay. Printed off some novelty frog things for a friend. She bought the STLs and sent them to me. One is like a D20 die in a style of a frog, and the other one is a plague doctor in the style of a frog. And they're actually pretty cool. But they turned out all right. I hollowed out the plague doctor because he was quite big. They're currently in the wash basket at the moment, in the wash station at the moment, having a soak. But I hollowed out the plague doctor because he's probably about so big. So yeah, almost as tall as the Terminator on the base here, on the paint handle. And I didn't want to waste that much resin in a solid thing. But the thing that you need to remember is when you hollow out a miniature, a 3D printed resin miniature, you need to add holes to it. to make sure that there's no resin on the inside, because what happens is if you hollow out a miniature on your resin printer but don't put holes into it, because there will be a certain amount of liquid resin that will get trapped inside during warm days. That liquid resin will warm up and there will be an expansion, and it will split the outer of your resin miniature, and then the resin that's inside will leak out and damage any print job that you've done. I had it with a Crutox, not Crutox, Greater Narlock baggage Narlock for the Tau and the Crute. And what happened was I printed it out, I'd hollowed it, but I hadn't put any holes in, and it split around the mouth. Now luckily I caught it in time, and I was able to actually just hand drill some holes into the belly to allow any resin inside to escape. So I was lucky in that respect that it didn't completely ruin the model. But I've seen some people that have had miniatures that they've printed out just completely split in half, and whatever resin was inside come oozing out all over whatever surface they had their mini stood on. And the resin is not exactly friendly to a lot of surfaces. So yeah, that's kind of like been my day today. So it's nice to just sit down and do a little bit of painting, just to chill out, relax, wind down from things. Now, and then this one. I see Valrak, Chapter Master Valrak, is getting rather animatedly excitable over the potential official notification of the launch of 11th. Is there some sort of show going on the 4th of March or something is going to be happening? Some open tournament or whatever? And he's getting increasingly more excited that 11th is going to be announced on that particular weekend. I don't know if it's just a preview show or whether it's like an open tournament or whatever. But yeah, we're looking at, for 11th edition, there's, like, if the rumours are to be believed, and, you know, as Valrak says, rumours are rumours until proven otherwise, and you should always take things with a big pinch of salt, in my opinion. But it seems that we're potentially going back to Armageddon for the Orc Menace, and it seems that we are also potentially having the Marines in the box painted up as Blood Angels, which would be great. You know, it'd be nice to see something other than blue. I don't know how people feel about that. Apparently they're not actually going to be sculpted with Blood Angels chapter symbols, which is good, but they are going to be painted red for the Blood Angels. Just having a check of these minis, see if there's anything else grey that I need to do on them. No. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with, I'm going to use Corax White to go over the chapter symbols on a lot of these minis. Some of them will be painted red, some of them will just be white. Which I will then use a watered down green wash to like just tint a very pale green, as it were. And I kind of prefer that. I don't know if I've got, so what, I don't know if you can see that on this mini. So what I do is I paint the Aquila white, and then I come in with a very watered down green, like Bealtan green, and just go over the top of it so that it leaves it not overly, for example, not like the dark green that I use on the magazine housings for the bolters. So that's what I kind of do for my Deathwing, and I do that with the, so we've got these guys here which have like a skull and a wreath, so they will get painted like that, with the skull potentially being picked out in a gunmetal, but the wreath around it I will do with that green style. And we've got two wreaths like that, two chest pieces like that in this squad. I'm not entirely sure why that is. So we're just going to come in and paint those. I'm just going to check. Right, so they haven't. That one doesn't. That one doesn't. But this guy has an Aquila on the chest, so he will. But also on this guy's gauntlets, lightning claws, he's got wreaths around the skull that he's got on his lightning claws. So that's that. And then I'm just going to come in and do the wreath that is around there on the, I don't know if you can see that wreath just around the Crux Terminatus there. And there we go. So anyway, 11th edition. There's talk that the box set may include Vanguard veterans, which would be nice because we got Sternguard the last time round. Have they? I can't remember if they've released a multi-part Sternguard kit yet. Is that the case? Does anybody know if that's the case? Multi-part Sternguard kit. But yeah, Vanguard veterans. Apparently, there's the potential for it to include a jump pack chaplain, which would be nice. I have the one of the older sculpts for the jump pack chaplain. That was part of the Finecast range, and also a potentially new land speeder of some description. How accurate these things are, I do not know. Only time will tell. It would be nice if they announce it in March, but I'm not going to hold my breath. You know, when it happens, it happens. Until then, it is just rumour. Right, so I'm just going to come in with some Fist and Red for some of the red details. And this is going to be for things like the eye lenses on the helmets and the red chapter symbols. Some of these shoulder pads have got rope across them as well, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint those with red, so a red rope. So let's just do that and pick our first marine. So we've got a Deathwing symbol. I'm going to need my magnifier for this. And I'm just going to come in and ever so carefully paint the red. This like so. You can tell I'm concentrating because I go quiet. I'm probably going to do 2 combat patrol videos this week. The first one is going to be the Cadian Command Squad. And then the second one is just a paint issue. For Combat Patrol, I've got an awful lot of study work that I need to catch up with. Because I've had bad internet, some of my studies, my pre-degree courses that I'm doing at the moment, I've lagged behind a bit because I haven't been able to get online to do the necessary assignments. So it's going to be a fair old bit of catch up, I'm afraid, in that respect, which may mean that for a week or 2, I'm probably going to continue posting maybe 1 or 2 videos a week at the most until I've caught up with my studies. So we've just quickly chatted about the Space Marine portion for 11th box set, and the rumours are that it's going to be orcs for the Xenos half. That was, I think, the last time that they were in a box set was Assault on Blackreach. I am right in that, aren't I? Assault on Blackreach was the last time. Because I think the next one after that was Dark Vengeance. And then we had Death Guard in 8th. Necrons in 9th. We had Tyranids in 10th. So I think we're looking at potentially orcs again, according to the rumours. Now, with that, some of the rumours are that we're going to potentially get some sort of war track buggy. New boys, I really don't like these beast snagger boys as orcs. I don't much care for them. What does anybody else think about the beast snaggers? So apparently we're going to get a war track of some description, and a new runt herd for Gretchen, but not necessarily a runt herder. We're just going to get some new Gretchen, and obviously a war boss. But what do people think on the rumours? Are they what you would like to see in a box set? Is the Space Marine portion or the Orc portion something that you are looking forward to? Okay, right, that's about as far as I'm going to take that one. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie. If the rumours are to be believed, then I am looking forward to having the new Vanguard veterans, because I never got the chance to get any before they were discontinued. Which I hate. I wanted to try and build up the which company is it? Is it 8th Company that are Fast Attack? 9th Company, the Fast Attack Reserve, that is. And then the 9th Company is the Heavy Support Reserve. And 6th and 7th, the Tactical Marine Reserve. That kind of rings a bell for me, I think. Or maybe even with the Dark Angels, because obviously their 2nd company is Ravenwing, that 3rd, 4th and 5th are standard battle line companies with fast attack, heavy support and battle line units, and then 6th is literally just, or 7th, 6th and 7th, yeah, 6th and 7th might be the battle line reinforcements. I think that's how it is for Dark Angels, if I remember rightly. I need to take a trip down to Entoyment in Poole at some point. Have a look and see what they've got in stock for the Walking Dead game, which is a game that I also play, based on the characters from the comic series, not the TV series. And just want to see what they've got in stock there and maybe get a pack. I want to try and collect all the main expansions. So I think the first one is Atlanta Survivors. That's the one I want to get first. Haven't played it in a long time because none of my friends collected it, and quite often if they come around they either want to paint and build stuff, or they want to play Warhammer, which is fine. You know, would be nice to play a different system every now and again. I see as well that Hachette, Hachette have put up on their website the first 2 issues for the Spearhead collection, and they've put it up as coming soon. So all being well, I think when I googled it when the release date was, I think it said somewhere around about the 3rd or 4th of March for the release of Spearhead, for those that want to collect it. I will collect it and obviously do the videos for people to see. So this guy's got Deathwing wings on his chest piece. He's also got crossed swords. And he also has Deathwing iconography on the inside of his Lightning Claw gauntlets that I will seek to paint red. Okay, right, so let's have a look at these gauntlets. So these gauntlets, the motif is embossed, but it's actually quite shallow. So right, said Fred. Let's just have a look at that and see. So that is going to need a little bit of touch up. I don't know if you can just see on the inside of that gauntlet. But yeah, those are a little bit awkward to get at. Okay. That's it for that one. And this guy, so he has, these have already been painted in once, but I had to just go back over them. Mainly because there were some issues with overspill for some other bits. So that's better. Let's have a look at his eyes. And then he's got a sword on his crown. Okay. I think, oh, he's got Deathwing motifs on the inside of his gauntlets too. Bugger. Right. Let's crack on with those. Cool. And this one. Oh, we got the final episode of the current season of Knight of the Seven Kingdoms on tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. I do know kind of what happens with regards to Dunk and Egg, and you know what they do moving forward, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do with them in the series, in the TV series. Haven't caught up with this week's Star Trek yet either. I must stream that at some point. Right. touch of water, I think. Obviously, I am going to talk about last week's episode, so if you haven't seen it, I suggest you block your ears up. The fight scene in last week's episode was really good. I think, was it Scola Gladiatori, the YouTube channel, did a breakdown of the fight scene, and they said it's one of the best fight scenes they've seen committed to film for a long time. But it was pretty epic, and it was quite brutal in its depiction as well, which, you know, Game of Thrones is known for that. But it was nice to see that they didn't necessarily shy away from showing this sort of thing in its gory entirety. And it was good the way that they cut the scene with flashbacks to Dunk becoming a squire and his origins in Flea Bottom. And the way that they did that, I thought, was really well done. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I know that this, in theory, shouldn't be the end of the story, the end of this season, because there is more material. So hopefully we will get to see the further adventures of Dunk and Egg as they go around the 7 kingdoms on their travels. Right, gonna need a little bit more red. Ooh. I don't mind doing the detail painting, but having to lean over to use the magnifier because my eyesight is getting worse really does make your back ache. What other paint systems are people using? I must admit I am pretty exclusive with the Citadel paint range. I haven't really had, I mean, as a scale modeler, I've used Tamiya paints a lot, and I like those. But I haven't like used Vallejo or the Duncan Rhodes Too Thin Coats or any of the other sort of like gaming paint ranges. What has anybody got any paint range that they swear by and prefer over everything else? Oops. Strayed beyond the line there. Okay. Right. A little bit more red. Cool. Right. What's that? Just the eye lenses. Oh, he's got a motif on his helmet as well. Right. Bit messy, tidy that up later. Right, let's have a look at our witch. Right, so our witch has red hair, so I'm just going to pop a base coat on to begin with using Mephiston Red. I will change that up, but I just want this base coat to go on. So this is Tiffany as she appeared in the We Free Men novel, Terry Pratchett novel. With her cast iron skillet that she used to batter the swamp witch with, or swamp monster, or whatever it was. Can't remember now. It's been so long since I've read the book. Okay, I'm actually going to come in with a Kislev flesh, which is quite a peachy flesh tone. So I'm going to come in with a Kislev flesh as a base for her face and arms. Oh, I forgot his shoulder pad. Right, I'll come back to that in a moment. Forgot a shoulder pad. Oops. No, come on. Hi Erica, thanks for the message. Yeah, Deathwing. I do like the backstory for the Deathwing, you know, and it being one of those, the Dark Angels being one of those chapters that can almost exclusively field all their veterans in Terminator plate. Okay, I need the magnifier. Yeah, I mean, and I've got, because what did we, with Indomitus, we had some Blade Guard, didn't we? And obviously on the side of the Indomitus box, they were painted up as Deathwing, and they're the only power armored, like standard type power armored Marines that I've got in my Deathwing forces. Other than that, all my Deathwing are Terminators, apart from those 5 miniatures, because I've done a lieutenant and the captain as all Blade Guard. So they are the oddities in my Deathwing army, as it were. But again, like the Blade Guard from Indomitus are the only Blade Guard veterans that I own. Most of the Primaris Marines that I own are Marines that have come with box sets. I haven't gone out and purchased any like new individual boxes of Primaris Marines. They've always come in a box set whenever I've got them. Okay. Right. At some point I will need to come in and do another coat for that. I did have a hobby day with friends yesterday and I managed to finish painting a psychophage. Yeah, Erica, I like the Terminator armor too, as I think it's a really chunky, good looking plate armor. And sort of like the lore behind it I find quite interesting, that they were I think they were supposed to be exoskeleton armored suits for plasma reactor maintenance or something like that, which were then seconded into military use. I haven't bought any of the new scaled cataphracti Terminators yet. I do like those, and again they are are they listed in the codex as relic armor? I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I've actually sat down and had to make up a force organisation chart for my army to play a game. I cannot remember for the life of me what the cataphracti Terminator suits are. I've got a funny feeling that they are listed as relic Terminator armor or something like that. I'm literally just throwing some base colours down on this mini at the moment. Now I need to, the dress that she's wearing is a particular kind of like shade of pastel green, and I need to have a look and see what I've got in my paint rack to best match that, or whether I go for painting it white and then using a shade to just subtly wash it and bring out the subtle green tint in it. Come on. Okay. And have dirty great big boots. I mean, they look like boots that a miner would wear, digging coal, rather than for a teenage witch. But yeah, sturdy boots for up on the chalk, as it were. And yeah, I did cry when I read The Shepherd's Crown. Absolutely bawled my eyes out. And it's a wonder if when Terry Pratchett wrote that particular scene in the book of Granny Weatheraxe getting ready to pass, whether that was cathartic for him, because he didn't have much longer left, unfortunately. And we did lose a fantastic author when he passed away. My only regret is that I didn't get to meet him when I was working at Forbidden Planet. He'd been in and done a signing a few years earlier from when I joined the store, and the staff there said that, you know, there were times when he was showing confusion, and you know, it was, I suppose it was inevitable that he wasn't necessarily going to do any more signings after that. But it was a real shame that we lost him. Okay. So how many, Erica, how many Terminators have you got in your force? In your army? Right, it is gone 8 o'clock, and I've got other things I need to get sorted out. So, hope everybody's having a chill Sunday evening, and I will see you in the next video. As I say, there's going to be 2 combat patrol videos this week. I'm not hopeful for much else because I've got a lot of study catch up to do, unfortunately. So we're making a bit of progress on our Tiffany Aching miniature as well. Yeah, I've got a bit of catch up to do on studying that I missed out this week. So yeah, if I can do more videos and catch up with other stuff, then I will do. But have a good rest of weekend, what's left of it, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the stream. And I hope you have a fantastic week. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye.